Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's Phantom Parade video we are going to do an updated tier list for the game. We unfortunately have seen so many SSR featured characters coming out together. The game is on speedrun mode, which we were predicting last time I updated the tier list when Junpei came out, but oh boy, we could not have expected this. So let's place some new characters first, then we are going to change the positions and talk about older characters already on the tier list too. Let's start things off with SSR Incomplete Domain Megumi. He's definitely double S tier. He is the first and best debuffer for global. Simple as that. Extremely strong character, pairs well with many damage dealers and doesn't just help them do more damage, he also does good damage himself, and he has the ability to work as a secondary DPS. Combined damage in his kit can also be important for providing recollection bit variety for him, but overall a very good character. SR Panda is up next, and here we get into the movie 0 units. I will place this one bot of B over Saki. Not overall a great unit, just an SR damage dealer, but he can do damage to all enemies with the ultimate and can increase physical damage to one enemy with skill 2, which is nice for a damage dealer, but since Panda is a SR, the unit does not have a lot of value, not even as a secondary DPS, since we're definitely going to prefer SSR characters that do damage at this point of the game. SR Maki is up next. I will place her at the top of C tier. She is a free-to-play damage dealer, but her numbers are nothing amazing. As I said with Panda, just better to use an SSR main DPS, but I guess her damage to all enemies alongside personal damage boosting is okay. I just cannot really see her getting used though, hence why I place her so low. SR Inumaki, I will place B tier under the SSR units, probably the best out of the movie 0 SRs, but still nothing crazy as a unit overall. He can attract enemy attacks, reduce enemy ultimate goes, and damage to all enemies is also available from his skill 3. Kind of a tank, but not super tanky at the same time, because he sacrifices his HP with every skill and then he attracts enemy attacks. Probably just designed to activate Yuta's passive, which he can very easily do, but outside of Yuta teams I don't really think he will be extremely useful. And then of course we do have the man himself, SSR Yuta. He is in the double S tier for sure. Him and Gojo by far the strongest damage dealers in the entire game, and you can put either of them at the top. I think for now I will maintain Gojo simply because he is way more accessible and maybe even more comfortable to play because he cannot be hit. Yuta does not have a turn limit though, that's something to consider. I don't really think I need to say more about this character though, we have discussed about him so much. He's a beast and he's double S tier. Then we have the final movie 0 character, SSR Geto. I will place him at the top of S tier. He is our second debuffer, and even though he is weaker overall than Megumi in my opinion, he can still fill a formation role that not a lot of characters can at this moment. His skill 2 can be a catalyst for higher damage, and his ultimate also targets all enemies, which is great. One of the reasons I am not going to place him in the double S tier is because he needs more specific supports. Either characters like R Yuki to provide cursed energy regeneration, and he's the only character that can do that right now, or specific recollection bits that can help him with his cursed energy regeneration, since that is the whole idea behind his kit, which I guess can make him less flexible, but he is still a strong unit. The second version of SSR Yuji is up next, the red damage dealer. He's S tier. I think I will place him over SSR Momo. He's the current best physical damage dealer in the game. He is in a very unfortunate position though of getting rushed because of the speedrun, and now he is between two other red attackers that are some of the best in the game, in Yuta and Toji. But he is still a good unit that can be used in mono red teams as an extra damage or break damage enabler, or secondary DPS. Just like standard Yuji, he wants to activate his ultimate as many times as possible. He has ways to increase his ultimate goes, And his skill 3 is actually extremely good for his kit, not only helping with damage but also ultimate skill Gojo regeneration. It is definitely a vital part and a very good one of his core game plan. SSR Momo is up next. She's definitely in the double S tier behind Yuta and Gojo. The best support character in the game next to SR Yaga. She's extremely strong and versatile as a buffer. Because she does not focus on boosting one specific type of damage, she boosts all damage, which makes her work in tons of formations with all DPS characters in Phantom Parade. Her ability to apply debuffs with her skill 1 and also stun all enemies can be so helpful, the stunning of course coming from her ultimate. This is a character that will make your team building way more comfortable, and she can of course also work alongside SR Yaga. Side note, she is also the only character that boosts critical hit damage and not just critical hit rate. SSR Noritoshi Kamo is next, and I will place him at the bottom of A tier under Todo. I have to be honest, even though he's still usable, this is such an irrelevant character for global. A lot of players didn't even know he was actually in the Momo banner. He did not get his own featured banner, he was included in the Nishimiya featured banner. For the two people that will target to get him, he's not that amazing, and having the same color as standard Gojo does not really help his case either, because Blue Gojo is one of the DPS units that almost everyone started the game out with. As I mentioned though, still usable, that's why he's A tier. He can deal combined damage and he can increase it with both his skill 1 and skill 2, which is actually very nice for him. But he does not have much buffing or utility for other characters. He's a pretty selfish damage dealer, which most of the time means he wants to be your primary DPS. Maybe not so much in mono blue teams if the enemy has low resistances, I guess. And he is also very dependent on his skill 2 being active to get the maximum out of his abilities. And it can be fine for a main DPS wanting to be selfish. Gojo does that as well, but the thing is, Noritoshi Kamo is nowhere even close to Gojo's damage output. And ironically enough, the next character is SSR Hollow Purple Gojo. We all know where he's going, straight to the top in the double S tier to accompany Yuta and his other version. Very similar strengths with Blue Gojo, awesome damage and even further utility and damage boosting with Hollow Purple, which is the reason he doesn't only leave the field after 7 turns, but also immediately after using his ultimate. A lot of players will ask if he's better than standard Gojo, and I have to say, even though his damage potential is a bit higher, the fact that Blue Gojo is free to play is so valuable, especially if we consider the current global situation. There's no better Gojo overall though. Both are top tier and different types, meaning the optimal option for your formation will change depending on content, and you would not be wasting resources, maxing them both. And now that all of the new characters are added, let's proceed to some changes, starting from the C tier. No one is going to move up. These are not the best units in the game, as you can understand, but we are going to move some units down from the B tier to the top of C tier, and I am specifically talking about SR Saki and SR Todo. These units are simply not amazing and not used a lot, especially with all of the new units that we are getting now. We have even more room to flex for these two characters. SR Todo is not in a great position, not only because of the break damage, but also because everyone has SSR DPSs at this point, so he doesn't really see play. Outside of that, no one else in the B tier will get moved. EGG, the rare character, got a little bit better with the introduction of Red Yuji, but he's still not going to get a lot of play because not a lot of people will have Yuji. His release is not the best, we didn't even get free pulls for him, so when Toji comes out, maybe EGG will climb the tier list. I also thought about putting Kamo at the top of B tier. We'll maybe consider it for the next tier list, but I just for now think that he's better than the SSRs in B tier. For the A tier, I am going to move SSR Inumaki right below SSR Panda. I think Inumaki, with his slight debuffing and as a secondary DPS, can definitely see some use. especially in Yuta teams, and a lot of players actually did pull for Yuta. Obviously, if you have better options, you are going to prefer a debuffer like Incomplete Domain Megumi or Geto, but Inumaki is still a good unit, definitely an A tier character. But some other characters from A tier, specifically SR Shoko and SSR Nanami, I considered dropping to the B tier. I won't do it right now though, maybe in the next tier list update. SR Shoko I simply don't like, but she is the only healer in the game, and that's why she will keep her position. SSR Nanami does not get used a lot, to be honest, and maybe in some bosses where you do have the 10 turn limit, getting the maximum damage out of Nanami on turn 9 is not the best. While he can definitely still see play, with the global speedrun and a lot of characters getting fast forwarded, I think he will lose value fast. And finally, we have the double S tier and S tier changes. No one will move up to the double S tier or drop down, so that remains the same. Blue Gojo is still awesome. SR Yaga is used in almost every single formation in the entire game, so obviously he will still remain in the double S tier. But for the S tier, we are going to move some characters around. First being SR Nanami. He will be at the top of S tier. He's a very useful character, and immediately your next choice if you don't have some of the best supports in the game like SR Yaga or SSR Momo now. If you don't have them, the replacement can highly likely be SR Nanami. He is also used in a lot of formations and he deserves to be moved higher. The exact same thing applies to Rare Yuki. I will place him after SSR Kugisaki. He is such a comfort pick in formations where you need the cursed technique damage boosting, so some of the best characters in the game definitely can work with him, and that is what is so important. The Gojo characters, ultimate damage, cursed technique damage. Yuta, cursed technique damage from his ultimate, even though he does have combined from his kit overall, the main nuke damage is cursed technique damage, and Yuki excels at helping those characters. And actually, I think we also need to talk about his SR version. I will drop it down a tier, and the main reason for that is I don't think he should be on the same tier as a lot of these other supports, and he's not really a character that you are immediately going to throw into your formation. You are most likely going to consider him as a replacement to a character that you miss and is better than him, like SR Nanami, SR Yaga, SSR Momo, and characters like that. He's not bad, but he's not your first option. That's why he will be at the top of A. And that is my updated tier list for Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. What do you think of it? Did I overestimate or maybe underestimate some characters? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.